Sometimes the biggest changes come from small acts of kindness. A simple hello, helping someone in need, or just being there when someone feels alone. These moments can change everything. The story you're about to read shows how one person's care can make a huge difference. If you believe people deserve second chances and that being kind matters, please like this video, follow Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who could use some hope today. Please leave a comment too. We read all of them. The rain was heavy that Thursday night when he walked into the 24-hour diner. His clothes were wet, his shoes made squeaky sounds on the floor, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. Nobody in the diner knew that this tired man was actually James Whitmore, the owner of the biggest restaurant chain in the state. Tonight, James wasn't acting like a boss. He wasn't thinking about money or business meetings. He was just a person who couldn't sleep, walking around his neighborhood, trying to clear his head after a really hard week. But when he sat down at the counter, he saw something that would change everything. Behind the counter was a young woman who looked completely exhausted. Her name tag said Lucia, and she was probably around 22 years old. Her uniform was clean but old, and James could see she was trying really hard not to cry. Every time she moved, she winced like she was in pain. When she brought him coffee, her hands were shaking. If you believe in helping others and standing up for what's right, please like this video, share it with someone, and follow Kindness Corner. Leave a comment to let someone know they're not alone. Lucia was young but looked much older because of all her worries. Her work shirt was too big for her, and she kept checking the clock like she was waiting for something bad to happen. James watched her carefully while pretending to read the menu. He could tell she was scared about something. Then he saw the problem. A man in a manager's shirt kept yelling at the kitchen staff. His name tag said Greg, and he was being really mean to everyone. He threw things around when he got angry and made the workers stay late without paying them extra. James felt angry watching this. For the next hour, James sat there drinking coffee and watching everything. He saw how Lucia was kind to every customer, even when they were rude to her. She gave free pie to an old man who didn't have enough money. She cleaned up messes without complaining. But every time Greg walked by, she looked scared. Something was very wrong here, and James decided he wasn't going to leave until he found out what it was. The next day, James came back during the day shift, this time as the real owner of the company. Greg was shocked to see him and tried to act nice, but it was too late. James had already seen how Greg treated people. Soon, James learned the truth. Workers were forced to stay late without getting paid extra. They couldn't take breaks when they needed them. Lucia had been working double shifts because Greg told her she would lose her job if she didn't. Her little brother was sick and needed expensive medicine. She couldn't afford to lose her job. The tears James saw the night before weren't from one bad day. Lucia had been suffering for months, but she stayed quiet because she needed the money. When James asked Greg about how he treated workers, Greg just laughed. They're easy to replace. If you want good work, you have to be tough on them. That comment made James very angry. But what he learned next made him even more sad. James waited for Lucia after her shift ended. When she saw him, she looked scared and started saying sorry, thinking she had done something wrong. He told her not to worry and gently asked her to sit with him for a minute. While Lucia had been working, James had quietly looked into her background. He discovered something amazing. Lucia used to be an excellent student. She had great grades and wanted to become a teacher. But she had to quit school 2 years ago when her parents got divorced and her mom couldn't work anymore. Lucia became responsible for taking care of her younger brother and paying all the bills. Her dreams of finishing school seemed impossible now. James had heard enough. That same day, he made some big decisions. First, he fired Greg immediately. Then he did something more personal. He set up help for Lucia's family through the company's support programs. Her brother could get the medicine he needed without costing so much money. But James did something else without telling Lucia right away. He paid for her to go back to school and finish her teaching degree. He also made sure she could keep working flexible hours so she could study and take care of her family. This experience made James realize that if this was happening at one restaurant, it was probably happening at others too. He started checking all his restaurants to make sure workers were being treated fairly. He created a way for workers to report problems without getting in trouble. He also made sure every restaurant had someone workers could talk to if they were having personal problems. His visit to that diner changed how his whole company worked. 2 months later, Lucia stood in front of all the restaurant managers at the company's big yearly meeting. James had asked her to speak. She wore a nice dress and was nervous, but her voice was strong and clear. She told everyone her story. She didn't want people to feel sorry for her. She wanted to show them that treating workers with kindness makes everyone stronger. She talked about how hard life can be, but also about how much one person's kindness can help. When she finished talking, everyone in the room was crying, including some of the tough managers. James watched from the side of the room, feeling proud and happy. That night at the diner, he hadn't just found a worker who was crying. He had found out that his company had lost its way. And Lucia, this brave young woman, had helped him make it better again. If the story made you feel something, please like the video, follow Kindness Corner, and share this with someone who needs to remember that being kind can change lives. Write a comment below. What would you do if you saw someone struggling and trying to hide it? We want to hear from you. We read every single comment. Your story might help someone else who is going through a hard time and needs to know they're not alone.